Hello everyone and happy Friday. Welcome to the Mylio Photos coffee break. My name is Angela and today we're going to be talking about using Mylio Photos on your phone. Specifically, how to get around the interface, where things live compared to on your computer. So hopefully you can accomplish just about everything you want to do that you do on the computer, you can also do on the phone. Before we dive into today's topic, I do want to let you know about the other events we have going on for you. Every Tuesday and Thursday we have a live Q&A session. These are informal drop-in sessions where anybody, whether you're brand new or you've been with us for a very long time, you can come and you can ask questions about anything Mylio and photography related. That is at 11:30 a.m. Pacific on Tuesdays and Thursdays every single week. And then on Friday we have these coffee breaks. Next week we're going to be talking about using the editing metadata options on your phone. So this whole month, the month of September, is about working with Mylio on your phone, and we're probably going to throw in some tablet stuff too. But the tablet experience is actually very, very similar to the computer, and the phone is where things get a little bit unique. So we're going to focus in on that, and that is at your request. Hopefully you guys enjoy these sessions and get a lot out of it. So with that, let's go ahead and jump into today's presentation. Today will probably be a little bit on the shorter side, but hopefully filled with tips that let you navigate Mylio on your mobile phone easier. So let's jump into mastering Mylio Photos on the go. All right, come on, there we go. So the first thing I want to talk about is the layout differences between looking at Mylio on your phone and looking at it on the computer. You can see I have the same thing pulled up side by side here. On the left is my phone, on the right is my computer, and the layout of all your different icons is a bit different. And while it looks different, there is very little you can do on the computer that you can't do on your phone. It's just a matter of knowing where to look. The only things you can't do on your phone that you might be looking for, you can't do photo dedupe, you can't do photo declutter, and you can't do batch face tagging. Those are the only three things that I've found that I can't do on my phone. You can still tag faces in individual pictures. That's totally easy, and we can show you how to do that. But as far as doing dedupe and declutter, you'll have to do those on a computer or even a tablet if you have a vault hooked up to it that has access to all of your images. So that's some of the main differences there. Otherwise, you're going to see the difference in where a lot of your icons are located. So on a computer, we're used to all of our different views and our tools here being along the left. On the phone, those are going to be across the bottom. Those are going to be your views here on the bottom. We have our More menu here in the upper right, those three dots. We also have that here on our phone. There's a lot more options though in the More menu on the phone because things like quick review, things like your info panel, your sync panel, your storage panel, all of those can be accessed here through your More menu. And then across the top here is your dashboard. Here's your activities, your notifications, and of course, adding new media. Right here we have the Learn panel, and those are all of the same things that you have on your computer. You can get to them on your phone as well. If you want to get to dynamic search, little search icon, and this pop-out here is going to bring you to quick filters, and depending on what review you're in, navigation. So those are the basic options and the differences between your phone and your computer. So let's go ahead and let me share my screen, and we're going to go into looking at Mylio on my phone. So give me one moment here to get this pulled up, and hopefully this plays nice. Sometimes technology is not reliable this way. There we go. And hopefully you guys can all see my phone. Let me move that over here so we have this next to all of our different options here. So I've got Mylio pulled up right now. I am in the All Photos view, and what I want to show you here first is the info or the More menu. So if we go up here to the upper right and click on those three dots, I'll go ahead and tap on that. You'll notice we have our account info. We have the info panel. So if you clicked on that little eye in the very right sidebar of your computer or your tablet, this is that same info panel. If you want to switch spaces or workflows, storage panel, sync panel, add media, which we also have here at the top, and the free up space option, which we've talked a little bit about. We're not going to go into that today, but that's a unique feature that you actually have on your phone and your tablet that you don't have on a computer. You also have all of the other options that are typically here in the info panel. And then if you scroll down, that's where you get to things like settings and the Learn panel and of course help. If you are ever in a situation where something isn't working quite right on your phone and you want to send a help request to our support team, this is where you go. You go ahead and click on help there at the bottom, tap that, and that's going to take you here to the contact Mylio support. Same form you'd fill out on a computer. It's just the way to get there from your phone, so it's very helpful to know. So we talked about the info panel, the settings. Quick review is also accessible here. We're going to talk about that more in a little bit, but let me just go here and show that to you. And we're going to go ahead and scroll down. Let's see here, and there's quick review right there. Now, switching between views, I'm going to go ahead and close up my info panel. Those are now along the bottom. So right now we're in all photos view, and I can go ahead and switch to calendar. I can switch to my map, my people view, my albums, give that a second to load up there, and my folders view. And these are identical to what you're going to see on your computer, which is, I think, very helpful. And I think one of the superpowers of Mylio is that you can interact with your stuff in exactly the same way as you do on your computer. You can do that on your phone. Now, quick filters and navigation. This is going to be a little different depending on which view you're in. Let's go ahead and start since we're in folders right now. I'm going to tap on the sidebar icon up here at the top, and you'll see that pulls up the navigation. If I want to switch to quick filters, those are the two icons here. Right now, navigation is highlighted. You can switch to filters, and it doesn't like me clicking on the screen there. Let me let that move off of there. You can click on, there we go, on your quick filters, and that lets you switch back and forth between those views. So you can still go here and you can type in, let's say we want to filter for the smart tag of cat. There we go. We can go ahead and filter for that and add that. And then if you want to close this up, you go up here to these arrows here. And then we now have the AI smart filter of cat, or smart tag rather, here. And that's going to show you all the filters that have that particular, all the folders that have that particular smart tag on them. So let me go ahead and close that up. Again, it doesn't like when I click on the screen. All right. So that's how you switch between views. That's how you get to your quick filters. If I go back over here to my all photos view and open that back up here, again, I have that same view and I can use all of my quick filters in all photos or any view that I'm at. The other thing I wanted to show you, let me go ahead and close that up, is the actions menu, which is down here in the bottom right. On a computer, this actions menu is there as well, but you also, when you're using a mouse, you have the option to right click on things. If you don't have a mouse and you don't have a right click, what do? You use the actions menu, which is down here in the bottom right. So let me go ahead and click on that. And that gives you those same options that you would in a right click. So if I have an image selected, go and do that. And I go to my actions menu, you'll see I've got those options to share, to copy, to move. All of those same actions that you can take on the computer, you can take them here on your phone as well. And then as soon as you get connected back up, either through the internet or on your home network, any changes you make on your phone, those synchronize to the rest of your devices. So I find that to be really super helpful. You go ahead and switch on to the next slide, and let's talk about selecting photos on mobile devices, because this is something that I get a lot of questions about, because how do you select multiple things when you're on a phone? We all know how to do the different keyboard shortcuts when you're selecting things on a computer, or and that's really intuitive, but on a phone, it can be a little bit daunting. So what I want to do is, let's say I want to grab these images, these ones here at the top. These were all from the building where my camera club meets, and I was taking some pictures. I'm going to edit them, and I want to put them on the website. So I'm going to select all of those images, and I'm going to tap and hold the first image. And you'll notice when I do that, that brings up this little menu at the bottom for range and done. So range is going to let me select an entire range of images, and clicking done is going to tell me you're done. If I want to select, kind of random non-contiguous images, I can just go ahead and tap those, and that's going to let me do that. Again, that range, if I go ahead and select range here at the bottom, that's going to let me click on the first one here that's already selected with the blue box, and then I can go ahead and tap on the last one, and that selected that whole range. And then from there, I can move those to a different folder. I can add them to an album. I can export them, share them with friends and family. So I can click my share menu here, and I can post them or send them in a text message or whatever I need to do. So once I'm done with that, I go back in here to Mylio, and that's where you go and click done, and that deselects everything. So selections are super powerful, and they help you get a lot more done. But the thing you want to know is that long tap puts you into selection mode. And then once you have the blue box around one of your pictures here in grid, you can either select individual photos, or you can click range and then click an entire range of images. So that is completely up to you how you want to go about doing that. And then when you're finished, when you've done whatever action you want to take by clicking that actions menu, then when you're done, you go ahead and click done there at the bottom. So hopefully that makes sense and answers a few questions that you guys might have about using that. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about a few other gestures that will help. So when you're on your phone, as you're navigating around, you probably, at least I've noticed, some people forget that you can do regular phone gestures inside of Mylio. The easiest one is when people are like, the grid is too small, or my folders are too small, or I can't read the text on something. You can pinch and zoom. And that's just that pinch and zoom that you use with your fingers to make things bigger and smaller. And that works also when you're in something like folders view. And right now I can see the titles here. But if I make this smaller, those titles go away. And I've had people tell me, hey, these are so small, I can't tell what they are. How do I get those titles back? You just zoom back in using that pinch and zoom gesture with your fingers. You also, when you're in, say, all photos view, and let me go ahead and go to this picture here, you can swipe using your finger back and forth to go one image to the next. That one's pretty intuitive. I'm guessing you mostly know that. And then when you're looking at pictures and you want to do a quick pick flag or a reject flag, you can actually move your finger up and down on a picture. So if I go ahead and move my finger up, come on, there we go. I can pick it, or I can move my finger down and reject it. Or I can just go up here and say, I don't want a flag. Excuse me. So that is some of the gestures you can use. Also, one that's really handy that a lot of people don't know is there is you can, in single photo view like we have on the screen right now, you can swipe up from the bottom of the screen to get to the info panel. So if I go down here and grab that bottom toolbar and pull up, there is my info panel. So you can also get to it from the more menu. Just go up to the three dots and touch that and then click info. That'll get you to the exact same place, much like you can go here, more, and then there's your info. That's going to do the same thing, but it's going to be a couple of extra steps. Whereas if I go here and I'm at a picture and I just want to see more, I grab here at the bottom of the screen and pull up. And make sure you're not going from the absolute bottom of the screen. So I know here on my iPhone, the trick here is not to be touching kind of this bar at the bottom. If I do that, it's going to want to close the app. So you're going to want to grab your screen, touch down here in this bar, just touch and hold, and then drag up. Not that. Okay. Touch and hold and then drag up. There we go. Sometimes it's a little tricky to get it in the right spot, but it is really helpful to know that you can do that with the info panel. So let me go ahead and close that back out. And let me go ahead and jump over to the next screen and let's talk about quick review for a moment. So we're not going to dive deep into how quick review works, but it is for helping you cull down your images. If you have a lot of images that are really similar, to figure out which ones are the best and to add star ratings and flags to them. Quick review was designed for mobile first. This is one of the features we have that works. It works great on your computer, and I use it on my computer all the time. But it was really meant to be used on a touchscreen device. Oops, let's make sure my phone doesn't go to sleep there. So what I'm going to do is go up here to my more menu, and then we're going to go down and we're going to open up quick review right here. I'm going to go ahead and touch that. And now I'm in quick review mode, and you can do this from all photos. You can do this from a single folder and all of this. And Steve's asking, do Android and Apple phones work the same way? Any difference? They are absolutely the same. The only difference is there are some complexities if you are using on an Android an SD card, like an additional SD card that you can put into your phone. Sometimes that can make things a little bit different. That's something I don't know a whole lot about because I don't use Android, but that's pretty much the only difference. Everything I've talked about here today is Apple and Android. I just happen to have an iPhone, so that's what I'm using. So once you're here in quick review, you have gestures. So I can say if I want to swipe to the right, I can mark this as a pick. And you'll notice it just got my little pick flag on there. And maybe this one I don't like as much. I can swipe to the left and mark that as a reject. And that's just you going swipe to the right, swipe to the left, and Mylio will automatically go to the next frame. If you want to add star ratings instead of flags, you move your finger up and down on the screen. So let's say, okay, this one's pretty good. I want to give that a 3-star or 2-star. And if you get it wrong, you can go ahead and go back. Just go ahead and slide your finger back on the film strip at the bottom. Go back to the image you want to redo. and you can go ahead and change that. You can also click these buttons here if you prefer to just touch a button instead of using gestures. It's completely up to you. But those gestures, especially for the flags, the swipe right, swipe left, are so fast and easy. I encourage you to check that out. And it's a great way to kind of go through a bunch of similar photos on your phone when you're sitting at the doctor's office, when you're waiting for an appointment, when you're in line at Costco waiting to check out. It's just a cool time to have something to do other than doom scroll on social media. So check that out and let me know what you guys think of using quick review on your phone, because I think it's one of those things that really shines on mobile. Once you're done and you don't want to do this anymore, you can go ahead and click this X, and that is going to take you right back out of that into the main view of Mylio. So let's go ahead and move on to this last screen here. And just a quick, takeaway is that menus and panels are more compact, but still mostly fully featured on mobile. And I say mostly because, like at the beginning, I said you can't do declutter, dedupe, or batch face tagging on a phone. You can do all of those things on a tablet, but you can't do it on a phone because the screen is just too small. So some of those things are restricted, but everything else, moving things from folders, adding them to albums, using quick review and doing your culling, all of those things you can do on your phone when you're sitting somewhere and you have time to do it. You can even add face tags. You just have to go one picture at a time. So if you have a folder that you want to add faces to, you can absolutely do that. Gestures are time saving. They make navigation more intuitive. Hopefully you learned a couple here that you maybe didn't know about. And of course, your mobile and your desktop workflows are meant to complement each other. It's not really meant to do one or the other. Some people do, but I like to work on both. When I'm out and about, my phone is what I have with me. And if I'm bored and have something that I want to do, that's what I'm going to use. If I'm at home, using my computer or my iPad might be more convenient because I do like the bigger screen. So it's really up to you what you want to do. And I'm going to stop sharing my screen on my phone now so it stops trying to pop up like that. And it's just a very complimentary workflow. Well, then just a reminder that we've got Q&A coming up Tuesday and Thursday next week. That's going to be at 11:30 a.m. Pacific. And those are drop-in sessions. You're welcome to come in, ask questions, whatever it is you'd like to learn more about, we can chat about. And then next Friday, we're going to continue our journey on working with Mylio on mobile and talk specifically about editing metadata from your phone. So I hope you guys will join me for that. And I hope you guys picked up something new and interesting out of today's session. Probably you knew most of what I mentioned, but hopefully there was some little grain in there that makes your life easier. With that, I want to wish you guys a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you so much for joining me, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye, everybody.